Hello and welcome back to the My name is Mila. I'm Jada.
I'm Bria.
I'm Kennedy Monet.
And today we are going to have a very special guest, Mama J. But before we get into that,
It is Girl Chat! So, Mila, what do you look for in a man?
what? Okay. And a man, like this, like mailman.
Like a man, like
What's
what's your type?
What's my type? Okay,
What's your
okay.
type?
My type, you gotta be over 6 foot.
Okay.
You gotta know how to dress. You gotta be cute. But that's all superficial stuff. The most important thing is you gotta love God with all your heart. You gotta love God more than you love me. And you gotta know how to have fun. You gotta know how to talk. You gotta know how to walk. You know, to walk the walk and not just say you go to church on Sunday just to appease me. You gotta know God for yourself before you come approach me. I remember somebody told me if a dude try to talk to you, you gotta tell him to speak in tongues.
I can do that too. I mean, full of this.
Yeah. Right. What do you think, Jada?
Well, I think, first of all, it's got to be a man of God, okay?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we can sit here and like give God a list of things. I don't know, 5 foot, you got to be funny, you got to have muscles. But is that what God wants for us? You know what I mean? Because God knows what's best for us, and I just honestly believe that God's gonna send me my husband.
So today, as she said, our special guest today is Mama J. So let's bring out Janice Patrice Ward.
Hi, ladies.
Hi! We're so excited to have you here today. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about a Proverbs 31 woman. So what a virtuous woman look like. And since you're the only woman here that's married right now, we just want to ask you a couple of questions just to kind of interview you.
I just wanted to ask, with a virtuous woman, what do you believe is more important, their deeds or their character?
Well, I think in their character will show their deeds. So in the character of a virtuous woman, you will be a loving woman, a caring woman, putting others before them, putting others' needs before theirs. So in that, then you'll want to, your deeds will show. Because you can say deeds is the most important thing, and somebody's just going out here doing stuff just so somebody can say, oh, good job, look what you're doing.
Right.
So I think that character will be the most important.
Yeah. If we often turn to Proverbs 31, I just want to read the first scripture here. It says this, and so before he gets in describing what a Proverbs 31 woman looks like, it says the words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. And so I highlight that to say it's very important because his mother taught him what kind of woman is a virtuous woman. His mother. So my question is to you is how important is a mother's role in their son's life for their son to choose a woman to marry, like to find a good thing?
Well, with my kids, I have a lot of sons. You know, I have daughters too, but I have a lot of sons, and I think that they look at the way I carry myself. They look at the way I treat their dad. They look at how I treat them. They look at how I treat others. They see that I take care of them. They see that I give them love. I take them to the doctor, nurture them. So I think that they look at that in their mother, and I'm pretty sure they'll look at that when choosing their wife.
So you're just an example, like this.
I think that's what a mother should do, set an example, not only for her daughters but for her sons as well. All right, and you said that, well, you know, you do have kids, you have a husband, you have a job. How do you? I know that can probably get overwhelming. Like, how do you manage all those roles? Like, it takes a lot of prayer. I've been doing it for a while now, so I just have a flow. I do have a good husband that helps me. We help each other. You know, I help him, he helps me, and that's what a marriage is. You know, I'm his backbone. So you know, he's the head, and I'm following behind him. But I just have to be submissive and let him take the lead in all my roles coming to play.
So speaking of the head, because God has like a certain order in a household, right? And so how does a virtuous woman play into this? Like what, like the order?
I'm glad you asked that. If we can turn to 1 Corinthians, I think it's 11:3. It says, and that's 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. So that's just letting you know there's God, there's Jesus, there's the man, and then there's the woman. So, and as long as the virtuous woman follows that chain of command, everything flows properly.
Yeah, and it's important to be able to trust your husband, knowing that your husband is following God.
Absolutely.
You can follow him.
And you wouldn't want a husband that isn't following God.
Absolutely. So how can a man find a virtuous woman?
He has to look for those virtuous woman traits. The godly woman, the woman that's looking out for others before her own needs and helping the needy. Just being a good person, being what God's called us to be, being what the Word has called us to be.
Because some women, I feel like they can be a little like deceiving, you know what I mean? Like they can like show to act like, but I guess to really like find the heart, like making sure she's a woman of God. Because your fruits will show, like you can put on the facade, you can be in church every Sunday, raising your hand, but your fruits will kind of, your fruits will really show that.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then Proverbs 31:18, it says, she perceived that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. So to me that means like she looks everything from a positive perspective. Her merchandise is good, you know what I'm saying? So how do you find it hard like looking at things, how do you maintain that like positive perspective, and how is it important like with your husband, like if you have that positive perspective?
Well, I just make sure that I'm doing things that are pleasing to God at all times. So as long as I'm doing that, and in that scripture you just read, it says she doesn't let her light go out. So that means that I'm constantly living for Christ. I'm constantly letting my light shine. People can constantly see the God in me. So I think that all Christians, not even just a virtuous woman, I think all Christians should let their light shine all the time, and let it be true and let it be real. You know, if you're living for Christ, you're living for Christ. I just think that I always want to be doing things that are pleasing to Him. So as I'm doing things that are pleasing to God, I'm doing things pleasing to my husband, I'm doing things pleasing to my neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back, because you, in order to be positive, because you really have a lot of faith. Because I remember Pastor Sam talked to us about, even with y'all like in this house, you know what I mean, and with the car, like you always have faith, and you always trusted God. So that kind of shows, where that come in, and that you have faith. That's why you can trust Him. That's why you can be positive, because you have faith in God. It doesn't matter what the circumstance look like. You have faith and you trust Him, and He provided.
Absolutely, and I've always believed that my help comes from the Lord. We've had jobs, and we had lost jobs. We've been down to one income, but through all of that, God has provided for us, and I've always believed that God will provide for us. So that faith is something major, that plays a part in my life, and should play a part in everybody's life.
What kind of advice does a virtuous woman give others?
First of all, when you're giving advice, I always like to pray. You always want to offer prayer, and you want to give something biblical. When you're giving advice, you want to give biblical advice. You don't give off of emotion.
Yes.
So you don't want to say, your man, you go cheat on him too. No, you want to pray for him and ask God, what should I do? And if it's in a marriage, you really want to earnestly seek God and ask God to repair your marriage, to ask God to remove whatever is hindering yourself. So I always look to God. And any advice that I give, anybody who's going to call me and ask for advice, they know that I'm going to give them biblical advice. I'm not going to give them some secular advice that's going to bring them down or bring them further away from God.
Yes, and since, like I said before, you are the only one married one here. In your marriage, what are some things that you struggle with as a virtuous woman, and how do you overcome those things?
At first, I struggle with submission because me coming from being a single parent, I've always done everything myself. I've always been independent. I pay my own bills. I pump my own gas. I've always done all that stuff. So that was a big struggle because, I have a husband that takes care of his family, takes care of his kids. I don't pump my own gas, So I've come from being that independent person to a person that has a good husband, and, I have to appreciate it. Something else I struggle with is admitting when I'm wrong, and I'm still working on that. I mean, and I know we all have our downfalls, but that can hinder your marriage when you can't admit that you have faults, or you can't admit when you're wrong, or even apologize when you're wrong. So that's something that I know that I need to work on myself.
What do you think? What is the verse? Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain in you.
Well, people think that beauty is going to get them somewhere, and beauty is just temporary, because we can be cute when we're in our 20s and 30s, but the 60s and 70s is coming, and change is going to come. So we need to have something more that we need to build off of. We need to build off Christ, build off what God has given us, build off our relationship with God, not just our outer side.
We need to build on our inner beauty
Yes.
and our spirit within ourselves, which
Yes.
that'll come with our relationship with God.
Yes. And speaking on appearances, how important is appearances, and how do you present yourself as a woman of God to your husband versus how do you present yourself to everyone else?
Well, of course I'm attracted to my husband. I think he's very handsome, but I don't think that that's the most important thing.
Right.
Like when my husband's preaching or he's teaching the word or he's giving somebody spiritual advice or whatever it is, that's more attractive to me. Like that, I mean, when he's doing that, I'm like, oh, he's really handsome now. You know, that's just how I look at even when he's preaching on Sundays, I'll just be looking at him. He's giving me some good nuggets, and that's attractive to me. You know,
His spirit.
Yes, his spirit. Yes, Jada, the spirit behind him. And of course, when I first got with him, I wasn't thinking about his spirit. I wasn't thinking about his inner. I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about he's handsome. He takes care of business. You know, that's what I was thinking about him. But when you grow in God, you know, you grow in. You understand what's important. And to me, that's what's important. And his salvation. You know, all the worldly things. You know, they can only take you so far. But we're looking for eternal life. We're looking for what's going to please God. What's going to get us to heaven.
Yes. And as far as appearance wise, like us as women of God, like how do we carry ourselves? Like making sure that our cleavage is cut, like making sure that we are dressing very modest because we don't want to be the downfall of anyone else.
You know, I've been fussing because I used to wear stuff that I shouldn't wear, but when I changed my life over and I decided I was gonna walk with God, I know that certain things are just for my husband to see. You know, a man shouldn't see your thighs. Nobody else should see your thighs. Nobody else should see your breasts. All this stuff should be covered up. And keep in mind that so when you get your husband, he has something to look forward to.
Yeah.
You know, the whole world shouldn't see what your husband's getting. You know, even though you when you're out in public, you know, you need to be you can be cute and be covered up because I can cover up and still think I'm cute. You know, I don't have to show everybody. As long as my husband thinks I'm attractive behind the four walls, that's all that matters. Everybody else don't need to know what's going on.
So are looks the only things that matter?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
Yeah, and I was gonna say with that, I was gonna ask you, does with saying that beauty is vain and all that, I was gonna say, are we not supposed to take pride or take care of ourselves? But it clearly says in there that with your clothes were like rubies or her purse is far above rubies. And it says she maketh herself clothing of tapestry, and her clothing is silk and purple. So yeah, take care of yourself. You are royalty, and that's
And we can be pretty without having tons of makeup on and having to have all this worldly stuff. We don't have to. Because I think we all are cute without makeup. We all look cute. Let's look at us. You know, this natural women. I don't think we have to be all made up. You know what I'm saying? And like my husband says, you don't want some woman that you come in looking one way, you take your makeup off, you take your clothes off, and you have all this fake stuff every which direction, and you like, who are you? This ain't the person that I thought I was dating or thought I was marrying. So I just think, you don't have to have all that. I'm not saying that it's anything wrong with wearing makeup or anything wrong with having hair extensions, none of that stuff. I'm just saying that you don't have to do that. You don't have to. The beauty's within. That's all I'm saying.
And even in 1 Timothy 2:9-15, just kind of like backs up what y'all saying. It says likewise, I want women to adorn themselves with proper clothing, modesty, and discreetly. It says not with braided hair or gold or pearls or costly garments, but rather by means of good works, as is proper for women making a claim to godliness. So it's just saying it's true. But it's not going into that. It's just saying you don't need to be extra.
It's not necessary.
You don't need to put on 13 necklaces and sparkle like a diamond because your soul should shine through with you. If anything, that should just be added to you. You should rely on that to you.
Because it doesn't make our value. Right here, it says right clearly that our price of a virtuous woman is far above rubies. It doesn't make us. It's not our work.
Yeah, and Psalm 139:14 talks about how you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and so you don't need that. God made me exactly how He wanted me to be, and I don't have to put on this and put on that in order to be who I'm supposed to be. You are who you're supposed to be without all the
And
extra
then it's
stuff.
looking for other people's approval.
Yes.
You will never suffice everybody.
Yes.
You gonna be 10 different people trying
Yes.
to please everybody.
Yes, when you realize that you are perfect in God's eyes, you will not try to go after and seek after other ungodly things. When you realize that
You don't need
God
that.
made you perfectly how He wanted you, so nothing is wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? You won't have to go out and try to figure out what is wrong with you.
Oh, and I had another question. How is like, what did you do to get closer to God? Like, what was that process like?
Well, actually, I had to really make up in my mind that that's what I wanted to do, because people, you can tell somebody you need to get closer to God, but until you determine in your own self that you want to get closer to God, you're not going to do it. So first of all, I had to start reading my Bible more. I had to stop cussing. I had to stop wearing certain things. It's a whole package. You know, you can't. It's a lot of things you can't say, you can't do, places you can't go. Once you decide that you're going to walk with God, that you're going to live for God. So that's. It's either you want to do it or you don't. I don't think that I'm gonna do a little bit today. Either you want to do it or you don't.
And how is that struggle even with you being in a relationship and in marriage? Because I know, like in the Bible, it talks about it's hard for someone to give their all when they're like in a relationship. Like it's hard for you to give God your all because you don't ever want to put your husband or anybody before God. You know, because what God gives, He can take away. So you never want to make your husband or your wife, your God, or worried about pleasing them. So how was that? Because even though your husband, how do you balance it? Because even though your husband is a man of God and he's like, how did you make sure that because at the end of the day, I have to answer for Janice. You know, how did you make sure that my relationship is mine, no matter what happens with this, no matter what you do, I'm still gonna be satisfied with you. I'm still gonna be okay with you, no matter what.
And what we do, and of course my husband's a pastor, but me and him study together. I study with y'all. We study. It's not just on Sundays. You know, we study Sunday evenings. We study on Thursdays. Y'all just pop up and have a Bible study in the middle of the week. It's something that we can do together. So it's not like you have to deprive any one person, or leave out God. We can all do it together and still be worshiping and learning together. But you do have to put God first. And I had to put that in perspective because I was putting my husband before God. And I can't do that. So I have to make sure I stay in my word daily. I have to make sure I'm living what I'm learning from the word and being a virtuous woman, being a Christian. Because we can all say one thing, but it's in our actions, like it said in the scripture, that we have to make sure we're continuously letting our light shine. So we all, as Christians, have to make sure we're putting God first. And the last thing I just want to say is that we just need to remember the chain of command. We have to remember that God is first, Jesus, the man, and then the wife. We can't take that out of perspective. We have to keep that first, and that way our life will flow properly. We don't have to worry. We're going to have trials and tribulations. They're going to come. But as long as we're putting God first and knowing that having the faith that He's going to handle our situations, having the faith that He's going to bring us through, I think that we will all overcome.
And we thank God for you that we have a first lady like that, and it's someone that we can look up to. So, do you have any advice or any last words for us?
My advice is just to keep God first,
Absolutely.
when you're dating, to date men who follow the chain of command, put God, Jesus, Himself, and then the woman behind Him, and everything flows that way when God is running the show.
Amen. So that concludes today's show. We're so happy that you joined in with us. Until next time.